Morning, bitches. Old pal Brian. It's who knows what, probably closer to 6 and some change maybe. AM. Didn't sleep real well last night for whatever reason. A lot of tossing and turning. But up at 5 and
Throttle active.
out here like a champ. You know, I didn't get a hold of Eric yet, but lately he's been noticing that I get out here without me having to call him, so. Beautiful morning, a few mozzies. I glued my wheel nuts onto my axles, and I'm hoping that my plane will actually roll. Yeah, we're rolling. So, you gotta worry about that kind of stuff. A wheel nut fell off the other day. No wind. So, lovely morning. Okay, very little wind anyway. So we'll loosen the fingers up with Mr. GWS Slow Stick, purchased from Heads Up Hobby, I think, in Ocala. I don't think I've ever been there. If they have a brick and mortar store. You know, hobby shops are getting to be like the old
9 minutes.
hardware stores. They're labors of love and not actually money makers, and they just keep people in business, barely. So had a great holiday weekend when all is said and done. One of my first holiday weekends off in 30 years. I must have had one or two. I just don't remember them. Probably in the early days. So, yeah, generally these boating weekends, as of the last 15 or so years, or 18 years, 17 years, have been all hands on deck, and I have a problem with that because every friggin' trooper ain't on the highway, and every game warden shouldn't deprive his family of his company. I mean, ideally, but I assure you the colonel ain't out there. So anywho, entertained one day, went to go up to our local pub, for lack of better terms, a wine club another day, and then the all-you-can-eat or all-you-can-drink mimosa day in another community. Of course, I didn't partake because I'm a teetotaler. So that made me the designated driver and yet again another rock star. So, still getting people thanking me for driving them. That day resulted in my lovely wife, who seldom drinks, a day of overindulgence, which made her very miserable Sunday or Monday. So we actually didn't go out and do anything Monday. We stayed close, and that was fine. I got to binge on a fella by the name of oh man, Tucker Gott, G-O-T-T. Just the great thing about media and YouTube and things like that is you get to just live other people's lives vicariously and not have to worry about, let's say, being on a paramotor and falling out of the sky like a bag of hammers. So young Mr. Gott and his ridiculously hot little girlfriend doodle around the nation and world. Actually, I think he does road trips around the world, Iceland and cool places like that. And paramotors, and gets to risk his ever-loving life so you don't have to. And he'll contend, because they mail him $10,000 packs. That is the actual butt fan unit and wing, that it's unbelievably safe. And I think it is when you're 25 years old. It probably is safe. When you're 50, you gotta, what they got to do at 54. What they're doing is they're strapping a fan to their back and they're inflating an airfoil, which becomes a wing at a certain amount of speed, and they run like a penguin or an albatross may, and try to take off.
5 minutes.
I watched one guy the other day getting so mad because he just could not get up off the ground to save his life. 3 attempts. He said, "I'm done." Yeah, and he flies all the time. So to nail it each time is quite the feat. But yeah, you're sitting with a bunch of very small diameter paracord type stuff, and you're depending on that and some very small pieces of equipment to keep you alive. And by the time I would have gotten through checking it all out, inch by inch, seam by seam,
4 minutes.
I'd never get up in the air. I mean, even for a minute. And this guy's swinging around, in a little tiny chair with a motor on the back, and God Almighty. I mean, it makes me uncomfortable sitting in my living room chair watching that thing float around the sky. Yeah, I guess rock climbers and mountain climbers and the others, depend on these, their equipment just insanely, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Could not do it. So, as they say, youth is wasted on the young.
3 minutes.
So that's what I did. I binged on that guy and watched him for about 8 hours, and his cute little girlfriend likes being hot, which is even more fun. He's a nut, just like the rest of us. I don't know if I ever mentioned this. Let's see if Ferg actually still listens to me. I went back and looked at some of my home movies in their entirety years ago, and I noticed that when I go to theme parks, I'd be perving on the MILFs. They'd be leaning over in the, I don't even know if they have them anymore, the little tanks where you can touch the rays. And as the mommies are leaning over, their boobs are all, hanging out. And there I am, circa 1988, with the movie camera looking down their blouses. I'm looking at their asses. And it's funny, it appears I'm not the only guy that does that.
2 minutes.
Because I was checking out home movies here a while back, and some other crazy dude was doing it. And men are way over this shit. Perfect on the MILFs. So, yeah, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So yeah, this young man's doing the same thing, and she's participating. They went down to the Keys to do something, and he flashed the camera around on her, and she's got her bikini top on, but she's got her shirt up doing the hoochie coochie dance, and God bless her, because that is the body of an actual cat, also known as Fun for Dads. So yeah, fun stuff watching young people enjoy being young, and just endless energy.
1 minute.
Van camping. Wow. you know, not minding being